Good morning, students. Today let us see the 6th unit grammar part. The grammar given in 6th unit is reported speech. In the above picture, Smith said something to Arun. Arun then reports what Smith said to him in the other picture. This is known as reported speech. First, Arun used the exact words of Smith. For example, Smith said, "I will come tomorrow." Here, while Arun said it, he said that Smith said, "I will come tomorrow." Yes, here Arun used the exact words of Smith. It is direct speech. Then he said in his own words, Smith said that he would come the next day. It is indirect speech. Thus, we can report a conversation in two types, that is direct speech and indirect speech. Now, let us see what are the things that we have to concentrate when we report a speech. They are reporting verbs, conjunctions, pronoun, tenses, and adverbs. Yes, let us see it one by one. Reporting verbs. Here an example is given for each things. First one, for reporting verbs. Smith said that he would come the next day. Here, said is the reporting verb. Then the next one, Smith said that he would come the next day. The same example is given for all the things. Here, conjunction is that. Smith said that he would come the next day. Yes, he is the pronoun. Then would come is tense. Then the next day is the adverb. So, the things we have to concentrate when we report a speech or reporting verbs. Said, conjunctions, that, pronoun, he, tense, would come, adverb, that next day. His two verbs commonly used while reporting are told and said. He said that he was cooking dinner. He told me that he was cooking dinner. Yes, in reported speech, we need not mention the listener when we use say or said. And in direct speech, we use inverted commas to mark off the exact words of the speaker. In indirect speech, we do not use the inverted commas. Yes, here rules for changing direct speech into indirect speech is given in a box. Original tense, reported tense, and an example. Simple present. In reported speech, we should use simple past. Then example, I am happy. He said that he was happy. The simple present is changed into simple past. Like that, here present continuous. Then in reported speech, past continuous. Example, he saw it. He said he had seen it. Yes, present continuous is changed into past continuous. Present perfect as past perfect. She's gone. You said she had gone. Simple past as past perfect. Example, I am leaving. You said you were leaving. Past continuous into past perfect continuous. Example, he was reading. He said he had been reading. Can as could. Then may, might. Must, had to. Will, would. Let us see the example. I can sing. Here she said she could sing. Can into could. We may stay. They said they might stay. Yes, may as might. I must go. He said he had to go. Yes, here must is given and we changed it as he had to go. Will as would. I'll buy them. You said you would buy them. Yes. These are the rules for changing direct speech into indirect speech. Yes, the next thing is when the reporting or the principal verb is in the past tense or present tenses of the direct or changed into the corresponding past tenses. Let us see some examples. A simple present becomes a simple past. He said, I am fine. In indirect speech, he said that he was fine. Said is the reporting verb. That is the conjunction. He pronoun. Was tense. The simple present becomes a simple past. A present continuous becomes a past continuous. She said, my sister is learning Bharatanatyam. She said that her sister was learning Bharatanatyam. Yes, here present continuous becomes a past continuous. A present perfect becomes a past perfect. He said, I have won the match. He said that he had won the match. Yes, present perfect becomes a past perfect. The shall and the will of the future tense is changed into should and would. Shall as should and will as would. Then the simple past in the direct speech becomes the past perfect in the indirect speech. For example, she said, the horse died in the night. She said that the horse had died in the night. So, simple past becomes past perfect in the indirect speech. Yes, the tenses may not change if the statement is universal truth. For example, the teacher said, the earth goes round the sun. Yes, the earth goes round the sun is the universal truth. So, while we change it into indirect speech, we should not change the statement. Now, in indirect speech, the answer is the teacher said that the earth goes round the sun. So, the tenses may not change if the statement is universal truth. The teacher said that the earth goes round the sun. Then the next one is, if the reporting verb is in the present tense, the tenses of the direct speech do not change. For example, say or says. He says he is fine. He has just said her sister is learning Bharatanatyam. He says he has won the match. She says the horse died in the night. Here, while the reporting verb is in the present tense, the tenses of the direct speech do not change. Yes, words expressing nearness in time or place are generally changed into words expressing distance. Here, the examples are given. For example, now, as, then. Here, there, ago, before, thus, so, today, that day, tomorrow, the next day, yesterday, the day before, last night, the night before. Yes, thus the words which expressed the nearness in time or place are generally changed into words expressing distance. Yes, the changes do not occur if the speech is reported during the same period or at the same place. The prince said, "It gives me great pleasure to be here this evening." The prince said that it gives him great pleasure to be here this evening. Yes, now let us see what are the changes to be done in reporting questions. In reporting questions, the indirect speech is introduced by some verbs as asked, enquired, whether, or if. In reporting questions, the indirect speech is introduced by some verbs as asked, enquired, whether, or if. Let us see some examples. He said to me, "What are you doing?" In indirect speech, he asked me what I was doing. Here, asked is the reporting verb used in questions. "Where do you live?" asked the stranger. The stranger enquired where I lived. He said, "Will you attend the meeting?" He asked them whether they would attend the meeting. Yes, here you are asked to change the following into indirect speech. Let us see the answers. Yes, change the following into indirect speech. "What do you want?" he said to her. The answer is, he asked her what she wanted. The next one, he said, "How's your father?" He enquired how his father was. Third one, "Are you coming home with me?" He asked. He asked whether he was coming home with him. The poor man exclaimed, "Will none of you help me?" Answer is, the poor man asked whether none of them would help him. Fifth one, "Don't you know the way home?" asked I. I asked whether he knew the way home. Yes, let us see how to change the commands and requests. In reporting commands and requests, the indirect speech is introduced by some verbs as ordered, requested, commanded, shouted, urged, etc. Yes, in reporting commands and requests, the indirect speech is introduced by the verbs as ordered, requested, commanded, shouted, urged, etc. Rama said to Arjun, "Go away." Yes, the answer is Rama ordered Arjun to go away. Yes, in direct speech, the question is Rama said to Arjun, "Go away." And in indirect speech, Rama ordered Arjun to go away. He said to him, "Please wait here till I return." Yes, here it is a request. So, he requested him to wait there till he returned. Yes, the next one. "Call the first witness," said the judge. Yes, here it is a command. So, the judge commanded them to call the first witness. The next one. He shouted, "Let me go." He shouted to them to let him go. He said, "Be quiet and listen to my words." Yes, here he is urging. So we can use urged. He urged them to be quiet and listen to his words. Thus, for commands and requests, we used the verbs as ordered, requested, commanded, shouted and urged. Let's change the following into indirect speech. First one. "Sit down, boys," said the teacher. The teacher ordered the boys to sit down. Second one. "Halt," shouted the officer to his men. The officer shouted to his men to halt. "Take off your hat," the king said to the hatter. The king ordered the hatter to take off his hat. Fourth one. The teacher said to him, "Do not read so fast." The teacher advised him not to read so fast. Fifth one. "Run away, children," said their mother. Their mother urged the children to run away. Change the following into direct speech. Yes, now we are going to change the indirect speech into direct speech. "I told them to be quiet." I said to them, "Be quiet." Lakshan asked me if I heard anything to say. Lakshan said to me, "Do you have anything to say?" Melvin said that he wanted to be a soldier. Melvin said, "I want to be a soldier." Ebin asked me what I wanted. Ebin said to me, "What do you want?" Bhagya said that she had seen that picture. Bhagya said, "I have seen this picture." Dear students, I hope you understood the reported speech. If you find time, just go through the rules for changing the direct speech into indirect speech. Thank you, students. Let us continue in our next class.